Thief of Light. One who steals light. The Thief of Light is a canon class spec held by the best troll of Risk a Circuit, and as such, we know a lot more about it. The Thief of Light would be someone with a thirst for more. They're naturally very ambitious and tend to dream big, and because of that, they're willing to do what they need to do to get there. Most of the time, that will include feverishly learning all there is to know about a certain topic or niche, then using that knowledge to gain relevancy and notoriety. They're not all bad, but they're just focused in on their own goals, and sometimes if something isn't part of that goal, they can choose to ignore it for the glitz and glam. On the ability side of things, a Thief of Light would have all the luck. All of it. They would essentially be able to manipulate any outcome in favor of them, allowing them to essentially be unhittable in most combat scenarios. On top of this, they would make for excellent scholars and being able to learn just about anything that they want at a very convenient pace. It's almost like whatever they want just kind of comes to them exactly when it needs to. They live and die by their luck, and if all goes well, it'll never really be an issue. Whatever the case may be, the Thief of Light can be a very divisive class spec. To anyone outside of the Thief, it can come off as arrogant and selfish, but to the Thief themselves, they're merely just worried about their own success, and that can be a bit blinding. Thief of Blood. One who steals blood or steals through blood. A Thief of Blood would be someone a bit jealous, though they hate admitting it or don't see it that way entirely. Left unchecked, this can tend to monopolize time with others, wanting to be the main person someone or a large group of people are hanging out with, just to feel included. A fear of isolation would be their main fear, and as such, they would do what they can to mitigate that, even if it means being a little bit tight on their grip with others. But when they're content and happy, they're willing to do anything to keep their bond safe, not afraid to cut deep and draw blood from any would-be aggressor. On the ability side of things, a Thief of Blood has some interesting applications. They would work well as an undercover agent, going behind enemy lines and tearing them apart from the inside and gaining allies along the way. Their influence would range from a natural magnetism of those around them, causing them to join their side, and even some mind control-like abilities, forcing others to have an unquestionably close connection to them. Whatever the case may be, a Thief of Blood has a lot of possibilities in store for them. If they can fight past their feelings, then a fierce ally is lying just below the surface. Thief of Breath. One who steals breath. A Thief of Breath would be someone who is always striving towards independence. Perhaps they were brought up in a very restrictive household or just had a general thirst and craving for adventure and exploration, but they're certainly driven and motivated to escape situations they don't enjoy being in by any means necessary, even if it means putting someone else in a bit of a sticky situation from time to time. And there's usually no ill will when this happens. The Thief just knows that at times, in order for them to best help others, they need a bit more space to think. On the ability side of things, a Thief of Breath would be something of a trickster in the way that they could apply their abilities. While they would have access to more traditional breath-based attacks, they would also be able to swap places with the air in a given location, allowing them teleportation as long as they're within a place that has an atmosphere. And upon god tiering, this could even grow to a more general form of teleporting via the wind itself. Whatever the case may be, the Thief of Breath is an interesting class spec, and as long as they're around, they're always going to fight for the freedom one way or another. Thief of Doom. One who steals doom. A Thief of Doom would be the kind of person who can have big ambitions and dreams. Because of this, they tend to try and surround themselves with people who hold similar ideals to them, but they can tend to easily get jealous of them at the same time. This can somewhat cloud the judgment of the thief in the moment, but they know that in time, they'll get what they want, which is why, even though they may feel insecure, they still choose to be around their people, so they don't have to go through the motions alone despite their impatience. On the ability side of things, the Thief of Doom would be an incredibly unorthodox class spec, and they would essentially be fully reliant on a form of life-stealing to help their teammates, stealing their fatal and life-threatening injuries, and then stealing from an enemy to empower themselves and get back up from nearly any injury. As long as they're around healthy people or enemies, and aren't hurt too bad, killing them would be a truly Herculean effort. Whatever the case may be, the Thief of Doom can have a lot of things in place to ensure success, but their impatience will be the end of them in the end. Thief of Heart. One who steals heart. A Thief of Heart would be the type of person who latches onto the people around them heavily. It may be due to a low self-esteem or even just because they love being around their people, but whatever the reason, quality time is something they strive for in all instances. Because of this natural need and want for connection with others, it pushes a thief to strive for more, and to reach the same heights as others around them so they don't have to be on their own as much. On the ability side of things, a Thief of Heart would be an interesting yet devastating class spec. Being able to steal the souls of foes would allow them ample opportunity to turn themselves into some sort of a soul battery, storing soul energy to then revitalize themselves, similar to a lich. This would make a Thief of Heart an incredible frontline combatant, taking damage like it's nothing and then draining a soul from an enemy to heal back to full and continue the fight. This may come with the adverse effect of them being a bit too reliant on this skill, and could cause the Thief of Heart to overexert themselves with no real way to regain stamina once everything is said and done. Whatever the case may be, the Thief of Heart holds an interesting position no matter the situation going on, and as long as they have companionship, then they're never truly alone. Thief of Hope, one who steals hope. A Thief of Hope would be the jealous type. They see what others have and they want to get a piece of it, though it's not always a negative thing. Sometimes, a little competition is all a Thief of Hope needs to make leaps and bounds to their own success, and a little jealousy can go a long way in fueling their own passions. But on the more negative side, this can leave a longing of wanting what others have, stealing people's simple joys and pleasures for no reason other than they don't have it, so clearly no one else can. A real Grinch if you ask me. On the ability side of things, a Thief of Hope's usage would be very dependent on the enemies they go against. Against normal imps and non-combatants, the nature of their power would heavily fluctuate as they would need a more concrete desire to latch onto. But against more driven and dedicated foes, a Thief of Hope would be able to turn the tables on nearly everyone, stealing their hopes and ambitions, causing them to become a sad husk with no will to continue, or even enhancing their own battle prowess to unimaginable heights, powered by the beliefs that they took from everyone on the battlefield to deal one decisive blow for the fate of their friends. Whatever the case may be, a Thief of Hope has a lot of self-reflection to do to ensure they aren't hurting others when they can enjoy life without negativity. And if they do, maybe their hearts and hopes will grow in sync. Thief of Life, one who steals life. The Thief of Life is a canon class spec held by Mina Paces, and as such, we know a bit more about it. The Thief of Life would be someone who has a thirst and a want for more. They may feel like often they are stagnant in their current position in life, and have big ambitions and goals for more. Thanks to this ambition and drive, they tend to be incredibly proactive people, doing the most when it comes to things that make them happy, but they can be a bit more selfish when helping out others, if there's nothing that can be done to help them along the way. On the ability side of things, a Thief of Life would be a nearly unmatched combatant in a one-on-one scenario, and even scarier in a group of people. They take the idea of lifesteal to the max, being able to extend their own lifespan by dreading from others around them, and forcibly weakening any opponents that they may come across, ensuring that they stay healthy as ever while everyone around crumbles. Whatever the case may be, the Thief of Life is a truly devious class spec, with an insane potential for whatever they set their hearts to doing. Thief of Mind, one who steals mind. A Thief of Mind would be the type of person known in their friend circles as a goofball. They're the kind of person to not take things so seriously, but will always tend to surround themselves with much more level-headed and calm people. Having a good and solid core to balance them out is a must, and the sooner they find someone like that, then the sooner their own growth can begin. On the ability side of things, the Thief of Mind would boast a very unique set of abilities. Being able to steal choices and logic from others would make them a deadly combatant merely by way of learning to copy other people's fighting styles. If an enemy is a master with a weapon type, the Thief of Mind can simply just steal and copy what they know to be instantly formidable as well. And in the process, if at all god tier, they may even be able to more literally steal minds, and turn people into brainwashed puppets to control. Whatever the case may be, while a Thief of Mind can be all jokes, it's important to remember that just because they're silly doesn't mean they're dumb in the slightest. Thief of Rage, one who steals rage. A Thief of Rage would be a more chill and relaxed person, funny enough. Their main deal is that they feed off of the vibe of whatever current situation they're in, and because of that, they can go from 0 to 100 pretty quick. They're excellent at hyping themselves up to meet whatever intensity a situation calls for, or in some cases, de-escalate someone to take their spot in a confrontation. Though this can also manifest negatively, as they can also be seen as the type of person who's always trying to steal someone's thunder, making said person lose their own passion for a situation because they know that the Thief of Rage is just going to make a bigger deal about it than they might. On the ability side of things, a Thief of Rage is a pretty interesting type of combatant. They would be the type to specialize in 1v1s, able to drain the target of any malice they may hold, thus making them an incredibly easy kill. They could also turn the stolen emotion into raw power or strength for whatever attacks they would need to dish out, but caution would need to be had. Draining too much anger and negativity can have an adverse effect when needing to calm back down or be around their friends. Whatever the case may be, the Thief of Rage has great potential for being a major source of motivation for a team. But walking the line between good and bad intentions make it harder and harder the more they mess around. Thief of Space. One who steals space. A Thief of Space would be someone who thrives in mostly social situations. They love being around people, getting to know them and exchanging ideas, though they may have some difficulty being alone. They may find it boring or even just hard to sit around with their own thoughts, and because of this, they tend to be the organizers of any friend group hangouts or meetups. This natural drive for community can also mean that the Thief has a wide network of people to call on, either to spend time around or just to gain inspiration for new creative endeavors. On the ability side of things, a Thief of Space would have access to all manner of spaced abilities, but in a more interesting way. They would be able to steal spatial properties from items, meaning they'd be able to steal the mass or height of an object to become as big as them, or even steal the space something occupies, which would allow them to teleport to objects or people at will. With the right weapon combination, this can allow them to teleport all over a battlefield with blinding speed. And like with all things space-based, creativity plays a big role in the class-spec's expression. Whatever the case may be, while a Thief of Space is a natural magnet for things around them, they'll always have the ability to draw people in even more if they want to. Thief of Time. One who steals time. A Thief of Time would be someone who you might find to be extremely captivating and fun to be around. They have a ton going on and are always down to bring people along with them for the ride. And whenever you hang around them, time just kind of seems to slip away from you. You're always either having some of the best times or you're absolutely going through it. But no matter what, it's always clear that they take responsibility for whatever happens. And because they can tend to lose track of time often, they try to employ various schemes and tricks to synchronize themselves with varying degrees of effectiveness. On the ability side of things, the Thief of Time would be a very strange one. Stealing time is a very esoteric sounding ability, and as such, the Thief's abilities would follow suit. Perhaps being able to take alternate versions of themselves from different timelines to fight battles, or even healing in a roundabout way, stealing the time it would take for an injury to heal. Creativity is really the name of the game when it comes to a Thief of Time, and they really have all the time they need to figure that stuff out. Whatever the case may be, the Thief of Time can rest easy knowing they have all the tools they need to succeed, even if it takes a while to really know how to use them. Thief of Void. One who steals void. A Thief of Void would likely be someone who loves to put their friends in the spotlight, funny enough. Whenever and wherever possible, they're always the first person to recommend a friend for something. Because of this, people around them can be naturally at ease, making them excellent secret keepers. People just can't help but hand out information to the thief, and they tend to savor it and hold on to it for a rainy day. On the ability side of things, a Thief of Void would have access to all manner of void-based abilities. Their interesting application comes in the same form of Rock's abilities, with being able to steal items from the void at will, taking the obscure and forgotten items that people don't know about. So perhaps the less people know about a thing, the better their grasp over stealing that object would be, effectively letting them be the best way to find lost items or even people. Whatever the case may be, a Thief of Void is a pretty swell person all things considered, even if they do everything in their power to remain hidden.